All right, good morning, folks. A little chilly today down here in South Florida. 65 degrees waking up, man. Gotta throw a sweater on down here. We need more Nancy Pelosi in the morning. Sitting here drinking my coffee. I love seeing Nancy Pelosi on the TV this early. We need more of her, like morning, noon, and night. And also bring back that angry Stanford crazy cat lady from yesterday. What an absolute shit show. So we can see that the market reacted a little bit, or if you want to believe, that's why the Dow's down about 30 points. What an absolute disgusting woman and disgrace to America. She's just simply awful. And yesterday could not have gone more better for the president or Republicans. Three angry liberal law professors. I felt like I was sitting, in the Harvard teacher lounge. And Jonathan Turley, he ain't no Republican or conservative. He's actually a moderate. And all four of those people voted for Bill Clinton. He's what a sober and great layout of history and the law we got out of that guy. What do we get from the crazy cat lady at the end? The president can name his son Barron, but he can't make him one. What? What? And then when it blew up in her face, and somebody kind of handed her a note like, "You better apologize for that." Even the first lady's on Twitter going, "What are you, retarded?" Well, I'm sorry, I did that, but when is the president going to apologize for everything he's done? So even their apologies suck. I love when like narcissist sociopaths like that apologize. Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, thanks for your apology. No, I'm sorry you're so stupid that you can't see how great I am type of shit. What an absolute great day for Democrats. And yeah, I'm all over Twitter this morning. I'm like, I posted under Nancy's thing. I said, we must vote to impeach before the Inspector General report drops and the U.S. Attorney arrests many of our operatives. This is an absolute disgrace to our country. They have just set the precedent that we can impeach a president because we don't like his politics. Seeing that fat lieutenant colonel, Army lieutenant colonel, actually say, and I saw this post on one of my military pages, famous military quotes. I have not yet begun to fight, John Paul Jones. Damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead, Admiral Farragut. I shall return, Douglas MacArthur. I felt that he marginalized me on Twitter, Lieutenant Colonel Vindman. This is what's going on in this country, folks. It's an absolute disgrace. But the president, of course, is right. What did he do? He said, hey, I'm looking forward actually to a fair trial in the Senate. We will have Schiff, the Bidens, Pelosi, and many more testify and will reveal for the first time how corrupt our system really is. I was elected to clean the swamp, and that's what I'm going to do. So we're going to have a Christmas Eve-ish vote. So this is the taste that Americans are going to have right before Christmas, impeaching the president for doing his job, and then a trial in the Senate in January and hopefully in the February, because guess what happens in February? The Iowa caucuses and all these other things that Warren and Booker and, well, now Kamala has to go back and do her job, not Willie Brown, her other job, I guess, senator from California. And it will be, this is fantastic. I told you all along, I told you at the beginning of this stuff like a year ago, I said, I want the president impeached. People don't know or don't remember that in a trial in the Senate, it's a trial. He can call witnesses. Now, if this, what's his name? What's his name's kind of a jerk, the Chief Justice. I'm not digging Roberts anymore. He ended up he was the deciding vote to keep Obamacare, right? It's not a tax, right? Well, if you don't pay this thing, it's a penalty, okay? I'm no Roberts fan, but, he can kind of, well, you can't call that witness type of thing. I'm pretty sure in my civics lessons, if you get like 53 votes, you can overrule the Chief Justice. So if Mitt Romney doesn't decide to be the douche that he is, it's going to be very, very interesting. The President of the United States could stand up in the Senate and go, I call Barack Hussein Obama, and start lobbing questions like, did you order a wiretap? Did you know that, when you see these texts, from Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, the adulterous FBI agents on your watch, when they say the White House wants to be kept informed. You're the White House, right? I mean, this is going to get. You just witnessed this morning the end of the Democratic Party for at least a decade. Newt Gingrich says he regrets that, man. They impeached Clinton and it made him stronger. And the dude was impeached for disgustingness, right? Could you imagine if a Republican was having sex with a White House intern and then lied under oath about it? But it was about sex. There's no way any of these people can defend what Bill Clinton did. But now we got this president who's like, hey, Ukraine's a pretty dirty country. Before I give them hundreds of millions of, the dude has a well-known track record of not wanting to give money to anybody. Why are we giving money to Europe? Why are we giving foreign aid to countries who like march on a daily basis and burn our flag? Why are we doing this? I agree with the guy. And oh, by the way, the guy as the chief law enforcement officer of this country has a requirement to look into law breaking. That all of this happened right around the Mueller report implosion. He's like, hey, I think Ukraine, you guys are part of this whole shit show. Why don't you look into it? Whatever. I'm not going to waste too much more time on this. It's just I'm shaking my head at it. Quick review of the week. Let's debrief. North Korea. Hey, man, I got a Christmas gift for you. The president's going to choose what type of Christmas gift he's going to get. He's hopped on his white horse. He rode up to the top of Mount Pikachu. And whenever he does that, they usually do something big. This is on the back burner, folks. Nobody on CNBC, Fox Business, Bloomberg is talking about this. Actually, I don't watch Bloomberg anymore because it's a shit organization. When they say they're not going to investigate their boss or any other Democratic candidates, but only Trump going into the election, you've lost all credibility as a news organization with me. I will never look at you again, period. So we're done with Bloomberg. Nobody's talking about this. I am. Cell phone, Skype, got buddies. They are absolutely convinced he is most likely going to launch an ICBM towards Japan. Will it impact the markets? Remember, man, the market only cares when it cares. It should, right? We were this close to a nuclear war with this guy. If you were here 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, we had, you ready for this? 3 carrier strike groups in the Pacific. It looked like the Battle of Midway, man. It was like there was so much iron in the Pacific. We had F-35s flying over North Korea. I can now report, or I can now tell you. We had Global Hawks. We had a cursor. Donald Trump had a cursor right on this guy's head. I think they sent him a picture of it, to be honest with you, and said, I'm not going to kill 25 million North Koreans. I'm going to kill you. Allegedly he's got a dead man switch. I don't know how that's wired or whatever, but like he's like, well, if I go, we're 4,000 artillery pieces around Seoul. There goes 4 million people. So, but we went from the brink of nuclear war, literally, with this guy to the president of the United States walking into North Korea. But here we go again. So we got to keep this. It's on our radar. Now let's get back to the other bad. U.S. officials tout fresh intelligence of imminent Iranian attack against U.S. forces and interest in the Middle East. There has been consistent intel over the last several weeks. Nothing in terms of specifics or evidence, just anonymous officials, blah, blah, blah. I love when the media interprets shit like this. Well, they didn't give us specific evidence. What are you, retarded? Well, our man Abdul over here, using some spying techniques, said it's going to happen on this date. Oh, really? Where's Abdul? And now he's his head sliced off. It's comical. Does everybody remember like General Schwarzkopf, some of his press conferences? So when is the attack on Fallujah going to happen? And he'd look at the reporter and like can I take your pencil and stab you in the throat? You remember some of those press conferences where we had 4-star generals or admirals with reporters that are that stupid? It was comical. So, General, when are you guys sweeping around to the west and coming in from the north? What? Next question. So, anyway, the officials would not say in what format the intelligence exists. Duh. But in the last several weeks, there's been movement of Iranian forces and weapons that the U.S. worries could be put in place. Guys, this is what we do, man. We monitor this shit. Yesterday, the Iranian Navy put out a press release that 64 of their ships have moved into the Gulf of Aden. Right? So, and I can tell you, yesterday, the White House said that 14,000 more troops are going into the region. The Abraham Lincoln into the Persian Gulf. Remember, folks, it was in the Gulf of Oman, which is outside the Strait of Hormuz. I was on the Abraham Lincoln in the Persian Gulf, so know a lot about this stuff, obviously. Here it is. General McKenzie. I told you this. He told an audience in Bahrain that CENTCOM believes a new act of aggression is likely coming. It's possible that they'll lash out at their neighbors. The intel was that the Ayatollah, whatever his name is, what were those shirts back in the 70s? Ayatollah Assahola. Anyway, he actually overruled. They were going to attack U.S. forces and interests or tankers, and he overruled and said, what's one underneath that? Well, okay, we can attack Saudi Arabia. What would be not a huge loss of life? We could attack their oil fields. He approved that. But they had plans to go after U.S. forces and bases. Bahrain, we're all over the place, folks. So, big freaking deal. BFD, how force buildups on both sides could increase chances of U.S.-Iran armed conflict. Remember, months ago, this was a big deal, and then it fades. This is my job, man, is to brief you on this intel. Just because people ain't paying attention about it, there's your dead cat bounce. Just because people ain't paying attention to it doesn't mean we're not. This is a good article about the forces in the region. The 14,000 more troops. The Abraham Lincoln. Oh, and by the way, Patriot missile batteries, F-15. What are also over in the Gulf at Bahrain that really isn't covered too much? Ooh, look at this, man. This is a Hodung. This is an Iranian patrol boat off the taking a run at the USS New Orleans. Guys, if you've read my book, subtle plug, nice Christmas present, by the way. You could get somebody a signed copy of my book. You will read about how I had an Iranian helicopter flying right at, hey, the Abraham, that's my boat, flying right at the boat and wouldn't deviate its course. And I had this guy locked up with an AIM-9 Sidewinder. I had the master arm switch to arm and my finger on the trigger. One squeeze and that dude would have been vapor. So if you want to grab a copy of that for Christmas, I strongly recommend it. This is a big deal, folks. Keep this in the mind. This is a black swan event. This is a black swan event. This is why I did well up in Chicago. I'd be briefing people on this stuff. They're like, holy shit, we never looked at this before. And sometimes in the past, I've woken up and my portfolio is down 6 digits because of shit that I didn't think was going to happen. Good week this week for Brazil. And a bad week this week for Brazil. The good news was this glowing article in the Wall Street Journal about Bolsonaro and everything that he's doing down here. This was an epic piece in the Journal, and it came out the same day as this came out, that their economy is expanding at the fastest pace in 6 quarters. Absolutely fantastic. And just could not be more bullish. So I've been dying all week to take a look at EWZ and do a long-term bullish trade, and we're gonna cover that today in a little bit after we finish our strategic and operational brief. Now, let's get to China. Everybody should have read the Global Times today. It's, most countries will rebuild a world order the U.S. can't stop. With ties fraying across the Atlantic, will Europe realize futility of towing the U.S. line? China needs to be prepared for U.S. financial sanctions. U.S. should not test Hong Kong's patience. You've got to read daily their mouthpiece and see what the enemy is thinking. They are the enemy, ladies and gentlemen. They are the enemy of the United States of America. And I don't use that word lightly. How would you feel about somebody who's hacked into everything you own and is stealing everything you own? Like hacked in and stealing you the deed to your house, right? Destroying you, trying to destroy you financially, building up all of their weapon systems to try and overpower anything that you use to defend yourself, folks. That's what you call an enemy, man. This is a threat. China off, but so here's all this stuff. Then you get this. This is in the Journal this morning. China offers official reassurance on trade talks with the U.S. China has said some nice stuff. China's trade negotiations with the U.S. remain on track, Beijing said, offering official reassurance after tensions flared between the two economies over the human rights issues. The Chinese Commerce Ministry said negotiating teams from both sides have maintained close communication, though it didn't provide details on the progress. The president over at the NATO summit, which was an absolute shit show, said what? They called yesterday. They actually called today. They're going to call tomorrow. They want a deal. I don't know if I want a deal. I don't think I need one before the election. And oh, by the way, the stock drop this week is peanuts. I could care less. Woo! I don't watch the stock market. If China and the U.S. strike a phase one deal, relevant tariffs should be reduced. I will note, I read every word in all of this stuff. Should. Recently, what has been that word if you're paying attention? S-H-A-L-L. Right? So, should has been put in place of shall. So there's actually two bills about human rights. So, but while they're here's so the top of this article is good cop. You know it's bad cop and bad for Apple. Excuse me. The state-run Global Times, which you now read on a daily basis, said China will soon publish an unreliable entity list. Somebody tell me what U.S. company is going to be at the top of that entity list, unreliable entity is. They're also starting to maybe put restrictions on U.S. diplomats. It's requiring U.S. diplomats to inform the ministry 5 days in advance of meeting with Chinese local government officials. Our embassy declined to comment. Now, obviously, early in the week, they pulled a couple port visits for U.S. ships. They've been doing that on and off for years, guys. That's not a big super deal. So, Tuesday, the president sprayed, Halon all over everything. A day later, he said they're going very well. Unless Washington and Beijing strike a deal by, there it is, December 15th, 15% tariffs on 165 billion of Chinese imports, already on top of the 360 that's been coming in due to tariff ban. The phase one deal would include Chinese pledges to buy billions of dollars in U.S. farm goods, liberalize its financial sector, and strengthen its intellectual property protection. Pull this leg and it plays jingle bells. So, does anybody see, any problems with this? China repeats the U.S. must reduce tariffs for a phase one deal. This ain't good enough to not do the December 15th. You got to get rid of all of them. But, man, what a wild week it was. The Brazil and Argentina smack in the face, and then on the airline, on Air Force One, hitting Macron on cheese and wine and champagne for hitting U.S. Tech companies with an online tax. Trump doing the standard, Mafia Don. Hey man, you don't hit my guys in the face. I hit my guys in the face. I don't like him. You see his press conference. He's like, I don't like these tech companies. They don't like me. But guess what? I'm going to protect them from this cheese-eating surrender monkey. So here we are. This is kind of a precipice here. So global stocks tick up as China stokes trade optimism. Okay. President Trump says negotiations are going very well between the two nations. Okay. 2 days ago, hey man, tariffs are on the table and everything's great. The White House may cancel the next wave of proposed tariff increases, which are due to go into effect December 15th, though Mr. Trump will probably wait closer to the deadline before providing specific guidance. A deal isn't likely until January. Oh my God, look at this sentence. I actually have said this sentence for a month. Trump will be willing to say that the tariff increases are unnecessary because talks have progressed. He's going to use the same language he used in September. In September, he did what? Talks are going well. I'm going to punt these 3 months. Cut, paste, put it on December 13th. Okay. Before that, we got a lot of other stuff going on, folks. What do we got tomorrow? Tomorrow morning is a big morning. Average hourly earnings, non-farm payroll, the unemployment rate, numbers, wholesale inventories, consumer credit. The ADP number yesterday was insanity. Previous month was revised down about 4,000. We were looking for 137. We got we got 67,000 out of ADP. Ooh. We get a bad jobs print tomorrow, and I think it's another excuse for this market to take a leg down. There is a classic chart of a dead cat bounce. We got back up to just about half of this gap move and failed. This is bearish. If you're just going Joe technical analysis, that is a bearish chart right there. Okay. Bearish chart right there. And if this data are not good tomorrow morning, I think that's an excuse for this thing to go lower and volatility once again to pop higher. Okay. Strategic mindset right now, between now and tomorrow, is bearish. Okay. So this is definitely not good. All right. Let's take a look at where we are. Monday. Oh, that's primary. Where's our weekly options? All right, so we did a 42. We debriefed the VIX calls, and I misspoke yesterday in AR. I did get filled on the whatever those were, the December 18 VIX 17 calls. We'll take a look at those. Those were up $8,000 the other day. $8,000 along with the 3-ish that the December 4th one was. The huge takeaway, the huge lesson learned from this week, ladies and gentlemen, is you do not ever close a long volatility position until it either expires worthless or it hits your profit target. What did I say 2 days ago? I said, now we are in a time where the VIX might stay elevated. We might stay elevated. Why? Uncertainty, because the president's got between now, he's got 9 days, folks, between now and whenever he tweets it or says it about December 15th. So to me, I think the VIX stays elevated. And I think the market stays under pressure down here. All right. So great lessons learned this week on volatility, especially for the new folks. If you're a new folk, do not use that. Listen to that. Because there are people that have been here for a while who maybe relearn that the stove is hot. They relearn that you do not close a long volatility position. During the life of those calls, I warned you. I said it. I said, hey, during the life of these calls, they might be the red. If that's going to bother you, don't do it. And there was people who, during the life of these calls, kept saying, hey, man, these things are losing money. What do I do with them? I'm like, I don't know what you do with them. I'm not doing anything with them. And then, bang, the day before they expired, there you go. Lesson freaking massively learned. Do not touch those. Got an email from a dude who's like, son of a bitch, I should have listened to you. I knew you were right, but I bailed. And I'm like, well, welcome to your SOP. Pull out a clean piece of paper out of the printer, grab your pen, and write that shit down. Lesson learned. EWZ looked at a bull put spread, the 42.5-42 bull put spread. And we legged into an iron condor on that. I am filled on that. It's the 43.5. Now, EWZ is right at break even. The bear call spread is actually inside of the break even, or my break even at least. Where's my break even? 40. Look at that. 43.75 is my break even. So what is Uncle Wiz going to do right now? Nothing in my commit criteria has changed. Up 14 cents today. In the blink of an eye, this thing tomorrow can be down 14 cents. This is why we do a brief, because I believe that this data will not be good. If the ADP, maybe 1 out of 10 times the ADP number is just so far off of the non-farm payroll. It can happen. But most of the time, if ADP is super soft or super big, this one's kind of close. Okay, so for me, this is a hold. The bull put spread is obviously at 98% profit. You can close it if you want. But this trade's essentially, it's down about $750. If you did the 150 contracts, you're down about $750 on the iron condor. So nothing else to cover on that. That is a hold for me. Visa. Loving Visa right now. Let me get out of this portfolio and get into the primary. That's what I'm going to start doing. I'm just going to pull up each portfolio as we go. Visa is at what, 180, 181 right now? So that's perfect. Right in between, doing exactly what we thought it would do for the week. Very happy with all of our trades for the week. I think we got like 6 or 7 on. All right, let me bring up this TGO primary. Let's take a look at Visa. Yep, 180, 181 essentially. Look at that perfect iron condor going on right here. Count positions. All right, so here it is. Visa iron condor is up 54%. Look at this nice looking trade, up $2,000. Let's click analyze. Yeah. Good looking, the break even to the downside is 178.74, 183.76. So this is perfect. I'm not touching this trade. Hoping to get a full $3,800 bucks out of that one. Here's the I have the Jan 2217 calls on for the VIX as well in here. This is looking pretty good. And then this one has some time to work out. This bear call spread on EWZ, I'm hanging. I'm not going to touch this. If we continue, between now and the president's announcement on the tariffs, I think we're either hanging in here or we're heading lower. Okay, so I'm going to hold that EWZ bear call spread. Let me take Steve. Steve, for Visa, not worried that jobs number may kill it. It may, but look at the metrics of this trade. If it does kill it, I don't think it's going to go below 178.74. That would be a massive pullback in Visa. And if, kind of just taking a look at a poor man's technical analysis for the past month, the 50-day moving average has been support. So, and I like the fact that with the S&P down 3 and the and the Dow down 50, that Visa's actually up today. There it is. Now it's back up at 181. So that would be a huge pullback. And usually, when Visa moves, even this one here on the market imploding was what, $1.50. So good question, but I don't think the jobs numbers. I think if anything's going to hit Visa a little bit would be average hourly earnings. If people ain't making more or they're making less, maybe Visa moves a little bit, but no, I think there's enough padding in this where it's fine. So Steve, if you think that's a threat and it's a big enough threat that it changes your commit criteria, then you could close it, absolutely. But I'm not. I don't think it's that big of a threat. All right, so there's the Iron Condor. All right, covered that. That's what we just covered. All right, let's go to AR. So I had a great one-day trade yesterday. I put that one on. Did anybody else get into that one? The 3120, 3125. Here, let me bring up AR. It was a great one-day trade. That hit max profit just as I thought going into the close. Man, that thing just sold off nicely. Good. All right. Guys, we've been doing fantastic. I am very happy with the performance of our portfolios. We've been doing great lately, and I'm very happy. Had a great November. Month to date is looking fantastic. Let me pull up AR. So, yeah, this portfolio looking great. So yeah, that was a good one-day trade. Like we talked about yesterday, I'm going to stay in these Visa calls just as these are through Christmas. They're red right now. I could care less. If I cared that they were red right now, I wouldn't be in them. But and we talked about this yesterday. So, and this bull put spread is looking good for tomorrow, the 43, 42 and a half. This one's going to hit max profit tomorrow. It's already up 67%. I only did 75 contracts. I was a little capital constrained in this portfolio. And I'm going to keep these long calls on. So the Visa and XRT calls are exactly what they are. Those are a hedge. You ready for this? Those are a hedge to the upside that I'm wrong, that, the president does punt on those December 15th tariffs. And, we end up getting a re-Christmas rally. I still think that's going to happen, folks. I mean, the president's crazy like a fox. The dude, even though he lied yesterday by saying, I don't watch the stock market, or whenever that was, Tuesday, he, of course he does. Positions. Yeah. So, oh, wow, look at this. So these VIX calls, so the VIX is obviously now the S&P is going lower. VIX is going higher. Look at this. These are the December 18, 17 calls. I am filled on these. They are up 71%. I did 100 of them for $6,000. That's $4,000 in profit on these VIX calls. And I'm going to hang in them because I think vol is either going to go higher or stay elevated. Now, if it stays elevated and doesn't move, I'm losing a little money on theta, right? So I could always close these right now, take the money and run, and put on some new ones, right? Long calls, and they are hitting my SOP right now. If I'm just buying calls, if in 1 week I can make half my money, 50, 60, 70, geez, when you are long calls, hell, if you can double your money, I start looking to take profit right around 50. Just said that, JD, $6,000. These cost $6,000. When I tried to get in them, they were $5,000, and then I had to chase it up because the VIX started going up. So those cost me. They're on the page here somewhere. They're on one of these. They're on the page, but they cost me $6,000. Yes, it was a $6,000 debit. All right, so the SPX trade from yesterday in AR out to tomorrow is the 31.30, 31.35, and this thing's obviously looking pretty damn good. S&P currently is 31.10. Yeah, I can we get a 20-point rip up tomorrow? We get a 20-point rip up tomorrow if we get a blowout jobs number to the upside. I just don't. Can it happen? Sure. Will it? Like I said, one time out of 10, anecdotally, the ADP number will be that far off of the government jobs number. I just don't. I don't see that. All right. So, yeah, and the VIX is almost back up here at 15, man. This is great. Now these are up 75%. You know, I'm going to close it. I'm going to take the money and run. I think VIX is going to stay elevated, but I'm going to close these. I'm going to take the $4,400 in a week. So that's 44.28. That's essentially seven. That's over $7,000 in the trades I'm looking at of profit and volatility. Fan freaking tastic. Love it, love it, love it. Oh, that math didn't work out. That's wrong. So the VIX is looking good. All right, let me go back and make sure I covered everything. So yeah, this SPX bear call spread for tomorrow, I absolutely love. SPX. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, this is like November. Both these did fantastic. These were another two profitable trades, SPX and FXI. And I think I covered all these. Actually, let me pull up FXI because let's talk through FXI. JD, the cost basis for the fourth time was $6,000. The calls cost $6,000. That's how much they cost. I don't know what you mean by cost value. There's only one word when it comes to buying calls. It's cost. They cost $6,000. They are on the page. That's what I'm saying, guys. Not sure what the confusion is. All right. Well, let me talk through FXI first, and then we'll cost for. Well, exactly. Then well, look them up. I think they were $1. Well, you guys can go dig. I forget the per contract dollar, or no, they were cheap. They were like whatever they were. So they're on one of the replay pages. Whatever brief we covered those in, were they AR? I think it was AR. Let's go find them if we have questions. AR. Yep, here it is right here. I think it was this one. They were 58 cents or 60 right here. These were 2 weeks ago. Right there. Okay. FXI, but let's look at this because so this week was kind of nasty. Okay, there's your nasty. Look at that. So 41, nasty day out of the president, 41. The invisible hand of the PBOC is trying to maintain calm. I'm actually going to put on a bull put spread out to next Friday. I'm thinking about, you ready for this? Brace yourselves. I'm thinking about a burner trade. I might even buy some upside calls. I believe the president is going to punt the tariffs. Okay. I think the president, even though he lied to our face the other day, does watch the stock market. Okay. I think we level, here's your dead cat bounce. That's physically what it looks like. Gap move down, half the gap, and fail. So we're going to hold here. The only way we really rally if we get some blowout jobs numbers tomorrow or between now and next Friday. He's got, can he do it over the weekend? The 14th or 15th? Yeah. Just like the Wall Street Journal said, he's probably going to wait until closer to the 15th to make a decision just so he can, it looks better for negotiating. And, oh, by the way, here's the other reason. I'm telling you, man, the president doesn't want a down Christmas. I don't care what he said the other day. I don't watch the stock market. Of course he does. The president, right around this time next week when he says, you know what, we're making headway. Let me just punt these. He gets that while Nancy Pelosi is on her fifth Macallan 18 over breakfast and impeaching him. So he can tweet that I just got impeached by the House of Representatives and the Dow Jones is at 30 grand and the S&P is at 3150. I'm working for you, America. Right? So, yeah, exactly. So I like a bull put spread here, actually. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was just comical. As soon as he said, yeah, I don't watch stock market, and I don't watch the stock market, and the drop today is peanuts. Okay, how'd you know the market went down? So I'm actually going to, we always talk about the threats first when we place any trade, right? Let's talk about a threat. The threat between now and next Friday when I'm looking at a bull put spread is exactly that. The Chinese say they have had a muted reaction, folks, to the Hong Kong stuff, but it's almost like there's been many times flying an airplane where I'm like, I'm going into an ambush here. I feel it, right? You feel it. These guys, I showed you the headline from Zero Hedge the other day that said, for all their bluster, the Chinese haven't done anything. That headline makes me pause. For all their bluster, usually the Chinese do respond eventually. Right? We're worried about what we're eating for lunch. The Chinese are worried about 1,000 years from now. So that out of the way, me saying that there's a distinct possibility that this trade could absolutely implode and lose everything. What would have to happen? Next week, the president says, you know what? Screw the Chinese. Things aren't going well. Suck on these tariffs. Boom. I don't think that's going to happen using all of our intel. The reason we do all of this stuff, the reason we brief, is to look at all the threats, gather all the intel. I think this was the week of bad cop, and next week will be the week of good cop. He does have domestic politics. The dude has to play to a base. You guys are right. Every Trump rally, the one that was right down the street in the BB&T Center, day after the president's rally, we were in there. Jack was playing hockey, skating around where the president was. He's no fool, man. For all of his bluster about not being a politician, he's a pretty damn good politician. Maybe that's the best politician, is one who isn't one, So, but all right, enough squawking. Let's go out to next Friday. You could always offset a bull put spread with a couple puts, right? We could always do a bull put spread, taking a credit and then buy some downside puts just in case. But I think we're going up. He's got until the following Sunday to do something, or not actually. But let's go pretty close to at the money here. 40 and a half, 40, 12 cents. That would be $1.50. So selling 150 of next Friday's 40 and a half puts. And it feels a little weird being bullish on the FXI, but that's my commit criteria. I just rambled for 5 minutes of commit criteria, so there it is. Buying downside puts, buying the 40s in case I'm wrong. And between now and next Friday, the president says, no, suck on this. Screw impeachment and screw the Chinese, screw everybody. That is a distinct possibility. The guy can do that. Just amazing to me that we're just simply trading in a Trump market here. Nobody cares about anything. I've literally had to dig this week, ladies and gentlemen, had to dig to find Cyber Monday and Black Friday numbers. It's usually this time of year. What it is, this is all we're talking about this week is how fantastic everything was. It was, but everybody's ignored it. We had a NATO summit where it was a bunch of schoolyard kids making fun of our president. I love Democrats. The world's laughing at us. I'm like, I could give a shit about the world, the cuck of Canada, and all these other clowns. I really don't like those people anyway. Boris Johnson, yeah, Great Britain really is a shining example of greatness right now. Can't even. The people voted to leave the European Union years ago, and you people still haven't done it. There's another perfect example of just stupidity. It's just of a government. Okay, filled on FXI. If you wanted to do a burner trade and buy some upside calls, they'd have to be like, if like I believe he punts these tariffs, FXI is going to have a pretty good pop. Maybe these 41.5 calls. We brought, but let me give you a quick brief here. What do you need to do this burner trade? You need to 3 R's, baby, or 4 R's. You need to be really, 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 really bullish on that. That's going to happen. If you're not, you just do the bull put spread. If you're not at all and you just think this is a maybe, you only do this. You only buy some upside calls. Rarely do I do this, but this is I hate being, well, I'm never half pregnant in trading. You're either, but this would be the I don't know. He might punt next week, and if he does, FXI is going to pop, and the market will pop too. I'm going to buy some calls. If you think most likely he's going to punt, you do the bull put spread. And if you think he absolutely is going to punt, you do the bull put spread and you buy some upside calls. So this is a perfect pilot and command moment for you all. I think he's going to punt. So I'm going to do a burner trade. What did I bring in? $1,700, $1,800. I'm going to buy 50 of these, half the credit spread. So if I just brought in $1,800 to do the bull put spread. Now I'm going to take half of that $1,800 and take half the credit that I took in and bought some calls, right? So, yeah, exactly. So I like this. I'm going to buy these. Well, Christine, let's take a look at the chart. 41.25 is the 50-day moving average right now. If we're going to look at where we've been kind of on here was kind of relatively good news out of trade. Hey, we're talking, this was like pre-Thanksgiving, and hey, guys, hop on an airplane and come over, and none of that happened. Here's the bad news. So we've been as high as 42 lately. So I kind of went between the 50-day moving average and 42, which is 41.5. So right there. All right. So, and if you wanted to go, let me close this. If you wanted to go super cheap, these are even cheaper, the 42s. If you think Trump's going to punt and we're going to get back, this thing does gap, folks. Look at that gap. That's 42 to that. That was about $1.50. JD, that happened before we jumped on the air. Yeah, she announced that at like 9 a.m. and the market didn't do anything. Yeah, we started the brief with me showing you my Twitter account of the president already tweeted about it 2 hours ago. Yeah. My tweet was, here's what Nancy Pelosi said this morning: we must vote to impeach before the Attorney General reports and the U.S. Attorney arrests our operatives. So yeah, It's a joke. It's an absolute disgrace. Oh, this dude's back. All right. But if you wanted, Christine, if you wanted to go with cheaper upside calls, do the 42s. They're 8 cents. The 41.5 are 18, so 10 cents. 10 cents is a big deal if you're doing 50. If you know, these obviously have more juice and a higher delta, higher probability of profit than those, but these have a potential higher payoff potential, right? Because they're cheaper. So again, pilot and command moment. I'm going to do the 41.5. If you really super believe that you're right and you want to do a burner trade, you could take the credit you took in 1,800 and spend it on calls. So not only if it pops, not only do you make the $1,800 of the bull put spread, but you're printing money on the upside with that. Okay. So this is your 3 R's, right? December 19 calls. No, I don't think he's going to wait until the weekend, guys. Remember, Trump doesn't watch the stock market, which is a lie. Absolutely, Donald Trump watches the stock market. I don't think he's going to wait till Saturday or Sunday to announce this. Why? He wants a huge pop in the stock market. If he does it over the weekend, sure, we'll get a little pop on Monday, but it ain't him in the middle of the trading day saying, "Hey, man, I'm a good dude." You guys know as well as I do, he wants that. But Frank, it's a great point. If you believe that is not going to happen, if you believe he's going to wait until he's got to do it on the 14th, folks. The 14th at 23:59 hours, and then 1 minute later, the tariffs go into effect on the 15th. Not midnight on the 15th, because that's the 16th. So he's got until Saturday. And knowing Donald Trump and his theatrics, I don't think he wants to wait until Saturday. He'll do it on a Friday, and so that good point. But if you want to be safer, listen to your wingman Frank there, because he's pointing out a potential scenario. So FXI calls 12.5. I'm going to do the no kidding burner trade. Sometimes I even buy more calls, man, and go in the hole a little bit. I just think he's going to do it. I mean, today was pretty ugly, or I'm sorry, this week. So, okay, let me fire those. All right. Yes, let me bring up the order. So here you go. Do this. Let me take a screenshot of what we did today. File save as debrief. Okay. To answer the VIX question from earlier, I do the calls that I just closed. I put more of these on, but and now I'm not going to. We got 7 minutes left. I'm not going to give you the hour-long lecture of. So listen to everything I just said. Everything I just said about FXI implies that I believe what Trump is going to punt between now and next week, and we're going to get a market rally. If we get a market rally, folks, VIX calls, a long VIX position is going to get hammered. You would be putting new VIX calls on if you believe that is not going to happen. You believe the president is going to let the 15th happen and the next round of tariffs go into effect. So that is a pilot and command moment. This is why I still have, guys, in what was it, primary? I still have the Jan 22nd VIX calls on. Because now let's get back to where we were 2 weeks ago. You ready? Because if the president punts and we do get a Santa rally, so this thing kind of continues, it meets here, what's going to happen in January? That. If he punts and gives us 3 months of, okay, more bullshit of trade deal stuff, that takes China out of the equation. Now we get the rest of the year's FOMO rally, fear of missing out, and then the January implosion. So I am long January VIX calls, but I believe he punts. Is everybody give me a head nod on that? Yeah, Kevin, you can absolutely wait for the non-farm payroll tomorrow. Craig, agree with you, bearish. SPS. Would you add more here ahead of non-farm payroll or wait? What do you mean add more? Do a new bearish trade? I like the one we got right now. It's, what is it, the 3130? I don't think the non-farm payroll is going to be good. Well, no, if you have the 3130, I'd keep that. If you do another one, you're really expecting that number to be bad and the market go down. I'm not 3 R's that it's going to be bad. You know, if it comes in line, I think we just kind of do the hover here, right? So if we get it in line, we hang out. This is here's where I thought we've been nailing market direction lately here, folks. Gap, half the gap, and we're going to hang. It's like a reverse square root. We're going to hang until D-Day when the president announces what we're doing with these tariffs. This, folks, earlier in the week, China was yelling at us, and then today they're kind of, China offers reassurance on trade talks. How often do you see that headline? So, okay. Yeah. A punt means yeah. It's a football term. I'm not going. Yeah. So, all right. So yeah. So you have to ask yourself if you want a new volatility position. Like I said, I think we stay elevated, right? This is when, you know, at a time like this. So the VIX, once something happens to cause the freak out, until that thing that caused the freak out goes away, the VIX can stay elevated, right? So, yeah. So, folks, just a quick reminder. Remember, I was walking around campus at Norwich right here, September 15th. Look at the date, September 15th. What happened? Boom! Those tariffs were supposed to go in 9/15. The Chinese hit us and said, hey, even if you punt these, suck on these tariffs, Donald. And then he went apeshit. But he punted these to December 15th. I think he does it again. I think the Chinese kind of doing this like, hey, you know, things are actually going well. We're still talking. Things are going good. Correct. If the president does not do the tariffs on December 15th, the market will rise and volatility will fall. So I'm going to sit on my hands a little bit with volatility. What did I say on Tuesday and Wednesday? What did I kind of mention yesterday? I said, I actually might get short volatility. Whoa. Guys, this is when you short volatility. Not here. That's where you get killed. Exactly, man. It's time to roll inverted and actually get bearish on volatility. But if you're going to do something like that, you do a spread. You do like, you know, would have been a great bear call spread on VXX the other day for a weekly. We were doing that for like, that was our August trade, man. We were dogfighting this VXX. It was fantastic. So, but yeah. So me, I took profit Tuesday with the VIX. I took profit today with the VIX, and then I still have the Jan long VIX calls. So I'm fine where I am with volatility. I think we still stay elevated, but other than that, I think I'm good to go. All right, man, what a great week. The only kind of sore thumb sticking out is EWZ. And like I said, in the blink of an eye, this thing can also be down 18 cents. My break even is 43.75. Every second that I'm talking to you right now, I'm getting theta on this trade, so I'm gonna sit in it the rest of the day and tomorrow morning and get some theta. If we get a market pop tomorrow, I'm going to try and eject out of this to avoid the bear call spread max loss. The bull put spread is obviously at max profit. Okay, so all right, guys, good stuff. Great week, very great week. A lot of profitable trades, massive lessons learned on volatility for some of you, especially the new folks or the folks from our last full throttle group who I got it, man. It's tough during it, when those VIX calls were quote losing money and people in the chat box going, hey, what are you doing with these calls? Are losing money. And me just saying, well, what do you mean? What am I doing with those? I'm doing absolutely nothing with those. And then the chickens come home to roost. That's why you put those on, right? That's great lessons learned this week. A lot of good stuff going on, a lot of profitable trades, and really super happy with where we are. Okay. Any other questions, concerns? Oh, by the way, throw them in the ready room. Your questions, your concerns, your intel, anything you're seeing, go ahead and post all that stuff in the ready room so you can be a good wingman or wing woman or person if you are so inclined. Okay. All right, guys, I'll get the replay posted here shortly. I'll get the trades up and have a good one. Yeah, David, very good one-day trade. That was a nice $1,800 or whatever it was in 5 hours. Like that one. We're going to be doing more of those because this is where we are in this market, man. It's a very tactical market. Okay. All right, guys. Have a great day. Have a good Friday. Got a couple coaching calls tomorrow, and I'll see many of you on Monday. Jennifer, where can you find the replay? That means you haven't watched the Getting Started video. So first thing you're going to do, Jennifer, is watch the Getting Started video. The Getting Started video is where you should get started, and it shows you everything. But the replay will be on this page. Underneath member content, you should see a tab right there that says Analyze Your Trade. So the replay from today will be posted on here, on this page. The replay from the primary live trade brief is on the primary live trade brief. The replay from weekly options is on the weekly options, and so on and so forth. Please watch the Getting Started video, not just Jennifer, but everybody else if you have questions like that. Okay. All right, guys, have a great day, and I'll talk to you later. Have a good weekend.